very easy. Like in our culture, the country and the Janani has been kept at the highest esteem. And the basic international Janani, the main thing is gender equality. Today for the sustainability tomorrow, and we craft women. I welcome you all the dignitaries, all the my colleagues, and all the ladies and gentlemen here for this DST celebrations of the International Women's Day here. And
are stepping up into new engineering fields like drone technology, nanoscience, etc. Our team interacted with women at different levels and spoke to them about the role of women in the field of science and technology and the challenges ahead of them.
So I was in my maternity break and I was in a stage that where I could not go for work because there's no backup system. Because the problem is I come from a family where they wouldn't say that you are a woman, you should say that but they expect under the women's care the child will be fine and we are still in that kind of a
I've done B.Pharmacy and I have done Masters in Technology from Biotechnology. I have worked for 2 years in Omex International in Hyderabad. Then I got married. I had 2 kids, 4 years and 1.5 years. So I would like to have work-life balance. I don't want to regret about my career.
Challenges are part of life, but overcoming them in a beautiful way, it's another journey.
The present scenario of Indian women in science really calls for an urgent policy intervention. And recognizing this challenge, Department of Science and Technology has initiated a women-centric program known as Vice Kiran Division or Women in Science and Technology program, which is a program started somewhere 2 decades back in the year 2002, and it is basically providing various career opportunities and create an enabling ecosystem for the women scientists and technologists to nurture and take active part in the science career.
We as a college, an undergraduate college, committed to the education of women and girls, especially in the sciences too, as well as humanities and social sciences. We felt that there are 3 things which were very important. Number one, that there are young girls who will see these women will see them as role models. They will also be able to get a certain encouragement in pursuing science or careers. Number two, they will also understand that there could be obstacles in their lives at a certain point of time, and how are they going to overcome those obstacles? And that is also a learning that they would get from this program.
Science and society are mutually dependent on each other. It's safe to say that when science progresses, society gets stronger. Apart from schemes to encourage women's participation in the field of science and technology, scientific interventions at the village level have worked to make less educated women self-reliant. Some recent developments are great examples of this trend. Let's first talk about seaweed cultivation technology that was made available to women self-help groups in coastal areas. This initiative has provided new employment to women from the weaker sections of the society living in the coastal areas and has helped improve their economic condition.
My husband is involved in the fishing activity, which did not give us adequate income. We were unable to provide good education to our children. Thus, we decided to do seaweed cultivation. We are now continuing the seaweed cultivation since last 10 years. In a year, we earned 3 lakh rupees easily after deducting every expense, including the expenses for family commitments. Our days are going very well. Recently, we expanded our existing house. Although we are working hard, our earnings are better than before.
Another successful scheme is the Purple Revolution in the Padava region of Jammu. The Aroma mission of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research has made the women in this region self-reliant. With the help of CSIR scientists, women are not engaging in lavender cultivation, but are also giving equal support to men in running the family with their earnings.
पतियों पे डिपेंड थे, ठीक है। अब हम अपने घर का मतलब खुद खर्चा कर सकते हैं, तो वैसे हमें डबल फायदा है, अच्छी तालीम दे सकते, फिर भी जो जिस चीज की कमी है वो भी हम पूरा कर सकते हैं।
हमें यहाँ पे रोजगार भी मिला है, इनकी वजह से महिलाएं निकलती थी, तो इनकी वजह से हम बाहर भी निकलते हैं, थोड़ा पता भी चलता है हमें, और हम ये खेती कर रहे हैं, हमारी आमदनी भी चलती है, ठीक है।
हो गया 7-8 साल शुरुआत की हुई इसका। पहले हम मक्की लगाते थे, मक्की में कोई फायदा नहीं हमें, फिर हमने लवाइंडर ये पौधे दिए, तो फिर धीरे धीरे हमें फायदा होने लगा इनसे।
India has mobilized a number of flagship fellowship programs, grants, and policies focusing on bringing in more and more women and girls into science and retaining women in scientific career. But at the same time, I must admit, still more needs to be done. The Indian economy today needs participation of women scientists. Mobilizing women, therefore, into science streams is essential for attaining technology-led economic growth, addressing national and global issues, and realizing sustainable development goals.
So we heard all these voices, the voices coming from the field, the voices coming from the labs, the voices coming from universities and colleges. We have talked to some of these young women scientists and we've heard what they are saying. The voice that emerges largely is that they would need support from society, from family, from their workplaces, from the educational institutions, but they are very eager to go ahead. And that's where we are. We have to support them. We have to create this universe, not only in India, but globally, where they really take up their careers in science and technology and are going to Mars and Moon. They still have more journey to undertake, and we are only trying and striving to help them in this endeavor.
For the Honorable Minister's Office. One more. And I now welcome Dr. Nisha Mehta, Hidden Advisor, Vice Kiran Division, DST, to talk about the DST initiatives for women empowerment in the field of science and technology. आपसे निवेदन है कि विज्ञान और प्रौद्योगिकी की योजना की नई पहल के बारे में हम सभी को अवगत कराएं. Ms. Nisha Mehta, I welcome you on the lectern.
Respected Honorable Minister of State of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, Dr. Chandrasekhar Ji, Secretary, Dr. Mande Sir, Secretary DSIR, Dr. Neeta, DG NIC, my friend Dr. Datta, my senior colleagues from DST, friends from Ministry of Science and Technology, all girls here. It's a great day to be celebrated, and I also render a warm welcome to all of you. Special day which we are celebrating to understand the aspect of women empowerment. I would just like to take you to the journey of we have taken so far to encourage empowerment. Here, I would just like to mention to begin with that DST started thinking about including the initiative for women in science since the initiation of 6th five-year plan, which was initiated sometime in the year 1982. And DST had been in forefront since then in not only including the chapter of women and development in plan, but also we took up ways to initiate a program of women in science in 1982 onwards. So this flowchart, in fact, I prepared just to give you a glimpse. And since Minister Sir is here, and he mentioned so nicely, and he has been a guiding force to us in telling the role of women and how, as a scientist, we need to work for the cause of our country. So, sir, this is a broad out glimpse of when we started and where we are right now at present. So right from 6th five-year plan, we initiated the program in Department of Science and Technology. And rather in 2002, we were very active in terms of initiating a dedicated program, which is a very popular program known as Women Scientist Scheme, or WAS, which was initiated by DST. And at that time in our S&T policy, which came out in 2000 year, there was a special mention of that as well. In 11th plan, then further we moved ahead in the initiating a gender budgeting thing in DST with the name Disha. And further we moved on to generating or setting up a specific program, which is a women-centric program. At that time, it was known as Kiran, and now it is Wise Kiran, because all wise women are sitting. So it is known as Women in Science and Engineering Kiran program. And another interesting feature is we have now in the process of finalizing our STIP policy, In the policy, there is a specific chapter on gender, which is also going to be finalized soon, and DST will have a very strong component of women empowerment through the programs, and also it will be embedded in our policy. So here, women in engineering and procurement. So as I said, this program is with a mandate to bring gender parity in S&T, and we are trying to induct more and more women talent in R&D domain, which already we felt that there is a need for India to include, enhance more women power in the STEM domain. And another interesting feature of this program is we are providing opportunities to many women researchers who have already some stage of their life had faced break in career due to certain obstacles. So there are many schemes which we are trying to provide to them. So it is an overall concept of Department of Science and Technology's women-centric programs. In fact, as the title says, that science S&T for women, and we are trying to capture two broad themes: women in science and technology, and also S&T for women. These are the two different facets which we are trying to capture through our programs in DST. Vice Kiran is trying to adopt the approach, a holistic approach, which caters to the need of human resource development, infrastructure development in the women-only university, and also policy interventions at the institutions level. This program is being taken up in different form. Broadly, I will say that under HRD, we are trying to give fellowships. Was already I mentioned, there is one overseas fellowship which is giving exposure to the women in the world-class organizations. And under that, a very, I will say, unique program or a popular program, which is meant to catch women at very young stage, or I will say young students, is Vigyan Jyoti, which is again, we have spread to 100 districts, and we have to spread to 200 districts more in this year. So 20,000 girls are getting the benefit of it. Coming to the infrastructure, women-only university, 9 we have covered. We have provided them world-class facilities in terms of R&D. And policy intervention is through Gati, which is again a new, the Athena Swan program of UK. And apart from that, when I'm talking about S&T for women, C division is working very actively in taking up many capacity building modules and training program for women, especially in the rural sector, and also they are providing a lot of opportunities and know-how to them in their day-to-day life. And Women Technology Park is one of the most important initiative which has been spread across the country. They have set up 50 parks, and more than 50,000 women, especially from the rural sector, have been benefited. And another important program of DST is by SERB Group, and their SERB Power Scheme is providing research grant and fellowship to many women. It is just a glimpse of the WTP, and one important thing I would like to highlight here is the programs under this program are supported to address problems of all the women from throughout their life cycle, starting from young child to the mature old level as well. So it's not moving. Move from there, please. Yeah. So this is, in a nutshell, a glimpse of overall achievement of Vice Kiran division. I think I'll skip that. Already we have made a standee there, and it is there in the poster, like in the folder also. Next, please. So at the end, I would just like to say that through the endeavor of DST, we are trying to go ahead for the women empowerment aspect, and I will just put it up that 4 R's we are following. We are trying to make them realize that they are they are no less than men. We are trying to recognize their potential. We are retaining them in active career, and also we are rewarding them through our initiatives. Yes. Thank you so much. Happy International Women's Day to all of you.
Thank you so much, especially for sharing the 4 hours. Aapka bahut bahut dhanyawad. I now request Dr. Srivari Chandrasekhar, Secretary DST, to address this August gathering. Please join me in welcoming to the lector Dr. Chandrasekhar.
Greetings to all of you, Honorable Minister for Science and Technology, our DGCS Sir Shekhar Mande, friends. International Women's Day has been celebrated across the world today, and we are proud and privileged to have Honorable Minister with us despite his busy schedules. He directly came from Jammu Airport to us today to spend time with us. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time with us. While DST has been conducting many programs to make sure that the power of science from women is not missed by our country, as Nisha presented, many programs are being conducted by us. I would like to just share some statistics with my own office in DST, which Akhilesh has shared with me today morning. Thank you, Akhilesh. We really follow a perfect match of women and men in our office. Out of 95 scientists in our office, 32 are women, so which we are almost like 30% there. And in the leadership role, we have much better presence. Out of 19 HODs in the department, we have 8, but today we have added one more HOD. So we are becoming almost 50% HODs in DST are from our women community. Then, of course, to motivate scientists, especially when you are watching the video movie which Honorable Minister has launched today, we have seen that women get a break in their service, in their careers because of having children, family responsibilities and stuff like that. So we are also launching new programs today which Honorable Minister will launch, where without the age bar, we would make sure that all women are accepted into our scientific fraternity. Just to make sure that we all know that sports personnel, as they get age, they lose the power of playing a game. But in science, as we age, we do better. So we wanted to have women, even at the age of 60, 65, 70, they should come and work with the DST lab. So these are some new initiatives which we are conceiving now. Also to motivate young colleagues, many fellowships, awards, recognition, grants are being created. We're also trying to work with TDP very closely to make sure that if women entrepreneurs would like to start some companies, whether we could give some grants, soft loans for these women entrepreneurs also in pipeline. Now coming back to this important event of the science, technology, engineering and mathematics, we are very keen that we don't miss the manpower in science and technology. And as Honorable Prime Minister keeps telling us that 50% of India's population, if you go to Kerala, women contribute more than 50%. So we would make sure that 51% of women would reach top in science, and Honorable Minister has to see how we could really bring in the girls students. We know of women in the high school to college to PhD to jobs. I think it's the funnel starts filtering off, and we see less and less in women. So we make sure that this filter doesn't happen. And women really, when they're 50% high school, they really reach the top also. It's 50%. DST is committed to do whatever best we could do under the leadership of our Honorable Minister. I wish all the women friends in this auditorium good luck. Those are watching us, please let us know if any more programs or any other thing that DST and Science Ministry should do, that we will initiate them proactively so that we will embrace the women power successfully. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for motivating us with those wonderful words and insights. And I think all of us were very elated at hearing you. I now request Dr. Shekhar Simande, Secretary DSIR, DGCSIR, to please share his insights on this momentous occasion. आपसे अनुरोध करते हैं, sir.
Thank you, Nidhi. Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, my senior colleague, Sri Uri Chandrasekhar, Secretary DST, other senior colleague, Dr. Sandeep Verma, Secretary ACR, Verma, DG NIC, all the senior officials present here, on and off the dais, colleagues and friends. For the National Anthem, deliberately said all you and not only female colleagues, because I think males also equally play an equal part in empowering women, and that part very often is not recognized. What I would like to say is that CSIR is very proud of its heritage and the role that many women leaders have played in shaping the destiny of CSIR in the last 80 years. Scientists like Janki Amal was a scientist in our IIIM Jammu, Indian Institute of Integrative Medicine Jammu, and she established the first herbarium in the country there. She was the first PhD from overseas to return to India and then set up planned systematic groups all over India. And she was a very proud scientist in CSIR. We are also very proud that one of our scientists, Violet Bajaj, she was a scientist in the Center for Biochemical Technology in Delhi, now known as Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology. Unfortunately, Janki Bajaj, she passed away last year at the age of 110. And we commonly say that if you work in CSIR, automatically your age increases by a few years. We are also very proud that country's first mining engineer, Chandrayani Verma, works in our institute. And if you have read her story, it's extremely motivating. If you read the story of Chandrayani Verma, and those of you who are preparing for your civil services, watch out. There are questions asked about her. Those of you who have seen Kaun Banega Crorepati, you see that there are questions asked about her. And as I said, CSIR is very proud to have hosted so many of our colleagues, female colleagues, who have made name for themselves, who have made name for CSIR, who have made name for the country in international arena. We are very proud of our legacy in promoting the scientists in CSIR. Having said that, let me also say that if we have to realize Honorable Prime Minister's 5 trillion economy vision, it is recognized all over the world that there has to be participation by women, equal participation by women into realizing that particular vision. We cannot afford to have 50% of our population not being involved in realizing that vision. And it is said often in many different platforms. And to realize Honorable Prime Minister's vision, the government has taken multiple steps towards that, to enabling women to come into science and pursue their career. And our colleague Nisha pointed out some of those DST initiatives that have been taken, and they're very laudable initiatives to promote women to continue their career in science in general. But in CSIR, we also work with society very closely. And as all of you saw, 2 examples in the films that they were shown, one from Mandapam in empowering fisherwomen to grow seaweed and getting value out of that. About 2,000 women there now gainfully employed in the Mandapam district, each of whom earns anywhere between 10 to 20,000 rupees per month now by cultivating the seaweeds. And I was very happy to see that particular clip on the video. Similarly, you also saw the Purple Revolution clip, and Honorable Minister also would mention probably the Purple Revolution, the kind of difference it is making in people's lives, and a tremendous participation by women into this. We are very proud that when the leather sector was facing huge challenges, environmental or judiciary, it is at that time our institute in Chennai, the Central Leather Research Institute, intervened and ensured that it does not actually die down. And that has given employment to a few lakh women in different parts of India. Employment to a few lakh women that we are actually very, very proud of. The leather sector employs about 80% women on today's day. And we are very proud of it. I would also like to mention, at the request or the suggestion of Honorable Prime Minister, we started this very famous Aroma Mission in 2016. And today Aroma Mission has percolated all over the country. And one aspect of Aroma Mission is also our ability to valorize flowers that are offered to deities. And what we have done is that we have generated lots of self-help groups, principally women, who work in the vicinity of temples or something like that. And at Shirdi Sai Baba temple, it has given gainful employment to about 2,000 women there, who now make agarbattis regularly with CSIR's intervention from the flowers that are offered to the deity there. And the same thing we are also attempting to do in Mata Vishnu Devi temple in very near future. So I'm very proud that kind of practical steps that we have taken under the dynamic leadership and under the guidance of John. We do hope realizing the vision of 5 billion economy.
थैंक यू सर, आपने हम सभी मनोबल बढ़ाया। नेशनल Informatics to address us on stage. Dr. Neeta Verma is the DG of National Informatics Center, a premier technological organization of the Government of India. With a year spanning over 1.5 decades, she has been instrumental in implementing high-impact and AI, to name a few, and was among the top 55 most inspiring women around the world. Can we have a round of applause for that? Please join me in welcoming to the lectern our very esteemed guest of honor, Dr. Neeta Verma.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of State of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, Minister of State for Prime Minister's Office, Personnel, Public Grievances, Pensions, Atomic Energy and Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji. Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology. Dr. Shekhar C. Mande, Secretary, DSIR and DGCS, Secretary, DSIR and DGCSIR. Dr. Devpriya Datta, Head Seed SSTP. Dr. Nisha, officers from DST, CSIR, DSIR, ladies and gentlemen. Let me congratulate and greetings to all incredible women and girls assembled in this hall and watching online. And let me also congratulate all those men who are present here and surely extending their support to the cause of women empowerment. As you know, we assembled here represent a very small percentage of women who have got the opportunity of higher education to be able to become a part of workforce through our careers. And there are many people in our lives who have really supported us through this journey. And I think today is the day we should pay our gratitude to all of them, be it our parents, grandparents, our teachers, our seniors in workplaces, our spouses, and most importantly, our children who must have missed us when we were all attending our office responsibilities. It is also time to pay our gratitude to all those women who have worked a few decades ago, because as we all have seen through the history, it wasn't as easy as it is for today to really excel and make an identity for ourselves. They were not only have to be good at their work, they really had to work hard to prove their credentials and establish themselves. And it is their hard work and their commitment which has opened so many pathways for us to really come to the position of eminence. But today's times have become very different. Century where every sector and every field is undergoing the phase of democratization. Gender inclusion is one of the top priorities. As we heard, that department is also targeting having, under the direction of Honorable Prime Minister, of 50% women in workforce. It's so encouraging. Women scientists are leading groundbreaking research across the world. So the environment provision today by the policymakers, society, academia for the 21st century women is far more inclusive and far more supportive. We are extremely thankful to Honorable Prime Minister for bringing out so many policies and programs in the last few years focused towards the empowerment of women. We also had a detailed presentation from DST from Nisha, where they have kind of highlighted what initiatives they have taken towards by inducting more women talent in research and development in science and technology. We are extremely thankful to Honorable Minister in this program and reporting 10 more STEM fields, science and technology, and addressing the kind of concerns they come across. Thank you so much. In fact, the mere presence of Sir here and his sparing valuable time with us also kind of shows the kind of commitment he has to the cause of women. I think we must really thank you, sir, for his presence here.
As we celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in 75 years of India's independence, it's really exciting to see women excelling in almost every walk of life, be it science and technology, medicine, engineering, education, healthcare, startups, leading the unicorns, entrepreneurs, politics, administration, public policy, and many more. But we are also cognizant of the fact that even though women have made tremendous progress towards increasing their participation in all these fields, they are still underrepresented in professional workforce. While growing up, all of us have witnessed an environment governed by women. We have seen our mothers having a major role in upbringing the children. We have seen a good representation of women and girls in our teachers in schools and colleges. As per the Ministry of Education's data, 49 lakh women teachers are there in which is amounting to 51% representation. We've also heard 16% of representation in this thing. So what is that happens, that what is that we need to address, that we have similar kind of a trends of women's representation, be it corporate, public sector, government, where women has to be in leadership. This is the question which is not just a number of statistics that you have to increase number. We really perhaps have to address it in a very, very comprehensive manner. And I, coming from the technology domain, very strongly feel that technology can play an important role in this. We have also, during the pandemic, we all have witnessed how remote working from home is now becoming an option for many of the professions. We perhaps have to take this forward. It's very heartening to see corporate sector supporting and bringing out so many schemes for women, so that, as it was said, there's certain period of women's life where they have an equal commitment towards their family. So how can they work out that balance while pursuing their career? They can also attend. So these schemes which are focused are really helping women, and I wish and look forward to having many more such support our young women in this. Digital India program launched by our Honorable Prime Minister in 2015 has really changed the digital profile. Today, you have the kind of revolution you have seen, mobile phones, broadband, mobile network is amazing. It is, you look at BharatNet program, the government which is bringing fiber to the 1.75 lakh programs, and now we are going to 600 villages. And this combination of digital broadband and mobile has readily and positively altered women's life by providing unprecedented and seamless opportunity or access to 5 E's, which is education, engagement, entitlement, employment, and entrepreneurship. From learning how to better manage their health and hygiene, to using their mobile phones to voice their opinion, technology has turned digital platform and EdTech platforms such as Swayam into empowerment tools facilitating self-directed learning. Government's digital literacy program run by our ministry, PMG Disha, has educated or empowered 3.5 crore individuals who are now better equipped to leverage the power of internet, leverage the power of technology for their own empowerment. And a large population from this are women. We have also seen how India has adopted digital in these times of COVID. Right from those school children to school teachers, many of them are women, to professors, everybody has really adopted and has really run their life to these digital mediums, and it is very, very, and this is a very positive thing, because this is again further enhance not only the digital profile, but digital adoption by people who are even bottom of the pyramid. Another aspect, I think, for empowerment of women is needed role of the officers or people who are heading the organizations also have an important role. Let me give an example. NIC was set up in 1976, and our founder director general was Dr. N. Seshadri. We also, some of us have been recruited by him. And I very clearly remember at that time, what assignment you get was not basis on your gender. It was basis your ability and your caliber. We got assignments which were conventionally meant for women, which was getting into AC systems and getting into those large frame systems, working 24/7. And this is his vision at that time. That today in ICT, 50% of the domains are being held by women. And many of these women are really working, leading from the front on deep technologies. You talk of data center, cloud, the complete messaging services, artificial intelligence, blockchain, all these places, e-office, which every government employee is using today, these all are led by women right from the front. Another place where I think we will surely need more and more participation of women, not only in science and technology, is this AI. You know, AI is becoming more and more mainstream, and it is now going to a lot of our day-to-day living. Is going to really penetrate into it. And this AI is basically mimicking human intelligence, mimicking human behavior. And how does this AI learn? Whether it is machine learning, whether it is deep learning, they are learning by whatever input we are giving. How are we interacting with them? Now, if we don't have equal representation of different diversities, the whole gender inclusion, the models which will build up, which will drive the future, which will drive our lives, will get biased, may perhaps miss on all those characteristics like empathy, compassion, which we women possess more than another. I think, therefore, it is important that we get more and more women in this technology. Lastly, my message to all those senior officers and senior scientists here is that we are blessed with by support of many of our colleagues, that we are at a position where we can help. And once we are in a position, we also have a responsibility of mentoring, of coaching, of guiding our young colleagues. I'm not saying we should only guide the women colleagues, equally we have to guide men colleagues, but many a time I have often seen girls will have a lot of potential, but they often shy away from taking responsibility or leading from them. Somewhere that little confidence, or somewhere that fear that I may not be able to show up when perhaps I am needed. That support we need to give them. We really need to coach them. We really need to mentor them as they go along and help them excel in whatever they do best. So that's also a responsibility. And I request all my senior colleagues here in almost every walk that this is something we should do. And it is not only at workplace. In our workplace, people who work in our homes, in our families, wherever we see these young girls, even the people who work for us, we have to continuously make them aware that they have to make their daughters study, they make them professionally qualified, and so on and so forth, and support in whichever small or big way we can do. If all of us become sensitive to this thing, I'm sure we will reach this 50% and maybe exceed 50% as we go forward. Finally, I'd like to close by saying we need to be committed in creating a more inclusive world by actively choosing to challenge inequality, broaden perceptions, and celebrate the success and strides made by women. And I'd like to compliment Nisha and the entire team who have assembled today to basically celebrate the same. All of us need to serve as sounding board for young women around us, pointing towards opportunities, listening to perceived and real challenges and helping to overcome those, nominating them for well-deserved awards and positions, being available as a friend and a colleague to help improve gender equality in the years to come. Thank you very much. Enjoy being here.
Thank you, ma'am, for those wonderful insights and for foraying us into further heights by giving your kind suggestions on AI and blockchain. I'm sure we all heartily agree. Let's abide by them. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to release 2 documents today. Science and Technology for Women is an important program to benefit segments of women, especially the underprivileged ones. But before I request our honorable dignitaries and Honorable Minister to please release the books. Ladies and gentlemen, we now present before you a short film on women empowerment, Atlas. We now have this film, which has been developed with the help of NATMO, National Atlas Thematic Mapping Organization. I request the technical team to please play the film, and I request all of you to please align to the screen.
Are the pioneers of the nation. In the emerging complex social scenario, women have a vital role to play in different sectors. They are emerging as the source of power and symbol of progress. Compared to the developed countries, the gender gap in the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is more pronounced in India. Science and technologies can impact equity and inclusion. The new Women Empowerment Atlas, Science and Technology Perspective, developed under the aegis of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, catalyzed and supported by the Science for Equity, Empowerment and Development SEED, is a blueprint of India's geography with a lens.
We are trying to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goal 5, which is for gender equality and women empowerment. This requires the disaggregated women-related data and its visualization. The Department of Science and Technology has conceptualized and developed this gender atlas from science and technology for the first time in India.
The strength of this atlas is the visualization and preparation of the Women Empowerment Science and Technology Index of India, based on 9 themes, all spatially visualized independently and integrated and collated for states and UTs. These themes are demographic, women mainstreaming science and technology support, women livelihood, gender mainstreaming and women leadership, women agency and decision making, women health empowerment, women education parity and support, women safety and support, and government initiatives.
So we have just put all these 300 plus gender disaggregated data together, and then we've come out with one core index where we have also aggregated the data between, we've ranged it at 0 to 1 so that there should not be any bias attached to it. And after doing all that, the best part of this atlas is that we have made it in geospatial environment.
The Women Empowerment Atlas has been conceptualized and prepared with the collaboration of the Department of Science and Technology, National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization, and Kirodimal College, University of Delhi. This Women Empowerment Atlas can help prepare pointers for women-led opportunities, safe public and private spaces, and well-balanced demographic structure out of India's present population through geospatial visualization of maps and infographics. The government and its agencies will be able to identify and come up with effective solutions for the highlighted issues by studying this atlas thoroughly. The commonalities and differences within the experience of Indian women can be identified through this process and take us closer to fulfilling Agenda SDG 5, which is achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. The Women Empowerment Atlas, Science and Technology Perspective will benefit stakeholders, including policymakers, field functionaries, academicians, researchers, NGOs, and civil societies to improve livelihood status by empowering women.
I thank the Honorable Minister and the dignitaries on stage for releasing the Women Empowerment Atlas S&T Perspective. that has been developed. We now bring to you a film on various programs under Vice Kiran scheme. Vice Kiran is a dedicated scheme that DST has created for women-centric programs, primarily for women who had a break in their career, and science and technology is benefiting them. और जब तक ये फिल्म चालू होती है, मैं आदरणीय मंत्री जी से निवेदन करती हूँ कि वो अपने कर कमलों से इन पुस्तकों का लोकार्पण करें और आप सभी से
Kiran, the ray, source of ray, the radiance of science. The Department of Science and Technology's dedicated scheme for women in science and engineering, Kiran, that is, Kiran, intends to attract and induct more women in science and technology by providing various opportunities. It caters to women from all walks of life in STEM, from school-going girls to unemployed and employed women. It is changing their lives, fulfilling their dreams, and promises to continue serving the better half of the population forever. Fellowship programs for women scientists started 2 decades ago, include Women Scientist Scheme with 3 different components. Women Scientist Scheme A has opportunities for pursuing research in frontier areas of basic and applied sciences. Women Scientist Scheme B focus to address challenges at grassroots level by finding solutions, and Women Scientist Scheme C provides 1-year internship in intellectual property rights. More than 5,000 women have benefited from all these schemes, and many of them are now working as scientists, academicians in premier organizations, law firms, and also starting their own venture. There is opportunity of overseas fellowship for women in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. DST started a unique initiative, Vigyan Jyoti. It encourages girl students to pursue higher education career in STEM by providing financial assistance to the selected girl students. Vigyan Jyoti has 3 components: school component, undergraduate, postgraduate component, and research component. Vigyan Jyoti school component is being implemented for class 9 to 12 in 100 districts, including 18 aspirational or tribal districts, where Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas are acting as Jyoti knowledge centers. Till date, more than 12,500 girls have been benefited from this scheme. DST even worked on infrastructure development program for women universities. DST took a special initiative, CURI, Consolidation of University Research for Innovation and Excellence, and supported 9 women universities all over India for improving R&D infrastructure and enhance research facilities. The present and future, CURI support has been extended to establish artificial intelligence labs in 6 CURI beneficiary universities, with the goal to foster AI innovations and set up AI-friendly infrastructure to prepare skilled manpower for AI-based jobs in future. Gender advancement for transforming institutions. Gati to encourage scientific institutions towards gender equality. There are 30 pilot institutes, which include 11 institutions of national importance, 12 research laboratories of various departments, and 7 universities. The Vice Kiran division of DST is committed and has been endeavoring to empower the women scientists from all walks of life in STEM education, encourage them to rebuild their career in STEM fields by providing them scientific and support. It addresses various challenges faced by Indian women workforce in higher education and further in scientific research and development, technology participation, and geared to develop more such initiatives for the benefit and empowerment of Indian women's scientific workforce. A woman has the power to create, nurture, and transform. It is expected that DST's endeavors under Vice Kiran scheme will bring remarkable changes in the S&T ecosystem through empowering women, bringing more diversity and gender parity.
And thank you for the applause. That was the release of a booklet on Vice Kiran at a glance. I now request our Honorable Minister and dignitaries for the release of phenomenal success stories of 75 women scientists in intellectual property rights, WOSC program. And I call on stage Fatima Motiwala and Taruna Sharma to share their success story. Can we have a huge round of applause, please? Please clap spirit to the Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Fatima Motiwala and I am from Kiran Aikar 8 batch and I got an opportunity to complete my training in clairvoyance for on-job training where I have understand how to understand technology in a IP, in a patents, how to analyze them and how to get monetized out of IPs, means how to get money out of it. After completion of that 1 year program, I got opportunity to work with NRDC, National Research Development Corporation, and over there I'm working under IP, startup and incubation division, where we have evaluated around more than 5,000 of startups for tax exemption under ATISC. And apart from startup evaluation, we are providing IP assistance to startups, individuals, and educational institutes. And I'm so thankful to Taifek, Yashwant sir, Sangeeta, and as NRDC is under Ministry of DSIR, so I'm thankful to Mante sir also. I'm so blessed to make it gives me a chance for being comes into an IP field. Thank you so much.
महोदय जी, प्राचीन सभी सभागण एवं समस्त श्रोतागण, नमस्कार। मेरा नाम डॉक्टर तरुणा शर्मा है और मैं वर्तमान में चल रही WOSC स्कीम की छात्रा हूँ। मैं छात्रा अपने आप को इसलिए कह रही हूँ क्योंकि ये मेरा लर्निंग करियर स्टार्ट हुआ है इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स के फील्ड। तो सर, इससे पहले मैं छोटा सा अपने बारे में बताना चाहूंगी बहुत संक्षेप में कि मैं एक बहुत प्रतिभावान छात्रा थी। 23 साल की उम्र तक मैंने एमटेक था और उसके बाद मेरी शादी हो गई। अब आगे बताने की जरूरत नहीं है कि शादी हो गई तो करियर की जिंदगी आधी हो गई। तो उसके बाद सर 10 बार कहाँ चले गए मुझे पता ही नहीं चला। मेरे 2 बच्चे हो गए और इन बिटवीन मैंने किसी तरीके से PhD भी कर लिया। और क्योंकि मैं इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड कम्युनिकेशन स्ट्रीम से हूँ तो मेरे लिए वो बहुत संघर्ष वाला दौर रहा। एक छोटे से गांव से हूँ तो आसपास में माहौल भी वैसा ही। अभी डॉक्टर मांडे ने बोला कि हम पुरुषों को वो नहीं देते हैं, उसका हम उनको क्रेडिट नहीं देते हैं कि उन्होंने भी सपोर्ट किया। यस सर, बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने, लेकिन सपोर्ट मिले तो क्रेडिट भी मिलेगा जरूर। ठीक है सर। अच्छा, मैं WOSC स्कीम में मैंने 15 फरवरी से ही अपना कार्यकाल कहाँ शुरू किया है, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में। मैं वहाँ के स्टार्टअप हब में अभी एम्प्लॉयड हूँ सर। और इन 10, 12, 15 दिनों में मैंने काफी कुछ सीखा है, जिसमें मुझे ये भी पता चला है कि गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से बहुत सारी अच्छी स्कीम्स चल रही हैं और जिनका सभी दूर दराज के इलाकों में, पास के इलाकों में, NCR रीजन में सब लोग फायदा उठा सकते हैं। और मेरे आभार का साइज इतना सारा है WOSC स्कीम के लिए, डिफेक्ट के लिए, DST के लिए, क्योंकि जिस लोगों को ये उम्मीद नहीं थी कि उसकी जिंदगी में कभी कोई रोशनी की किरण आएगी। किरण स्कीम ने उसके अंदर पूरा का पूरा सूरज दे दिया। So I'm to संगीता मैम, दीप्ति मैम, ऐसा नहीं है कि स्कीम को करने के बाद में कोई मुसीबत नहीं आती। घर वालों के जहाँ एक गिलास पानी लेने की भी उनको आदत नहीं होती, उनके हैरानी आती कि 9 से 5 वो बाहर जा रही है। मेरे भी हाथ लिया कि मैं नहीं करूंगी, लेकिन संगीता मैम ने फिर मुझे रोक लिया कि नहीं बेटा तुम्हें करना ही है। तो मैम आप सब लोग इसलिए बधाई के पात्र हैं कि आप उस चीज को सिर्फ खाना पूर्ति के लिए, कॉलम पूर्ति के लिए नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप अपनी जिंदगी का मिशन बनाकर उसको कर रहे हैं। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच। और मैं उम्मीद करती कि जिस भावना के साथ में, जिस निश्चय के साथ में आपने ये स्कीम शुरू करी है, मेरे जैसी और जितनी भी मेरी साथ की, मेरे बैच की लड़कियां हैं, आपकी उम्मीदों पर खरा उतरे। धन्यवाद सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सर।
That was indeed wonderful, thoughtful, and I will now request our Honourable Minister and esteemed dignitaries to please give us a photo opportunity. Taruna and Fatima, please join. And I request you to hold the success stories of 75 women scientists in your hands, sir. All right. All right, we carry on, ladies and gentlemen. We now have a release of a brief report on the study of women technology parks for integrated development of rural women. This recommendation by the Parliamentary Committee on Empowerment of Women was set up with the help of the GOI, and this would be a boon for the rural poor. I request you, sir, do the honors. ये सभी योजनाएं ग्रामीण गांव के सशक्तिकरण के काम आएंगी और उन्हें रोजगार भी प्रदान करेंगे। Thank you, sir. I now request Honourable Minister of State Jitendra Singh, Independent Charge of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, Minister of State for Prime Minister's Office, Personal, Public Grievances and Pensions, Atomic Energy and Space, to please share his views on today's occasion, sir.
DG CSI Shekhar Pandey, Secretary Science and Technology Dr. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Mrs. Varma, Dr. Nisha, Dr. Datta, ladies and about a dozen men. I think by the it's my turn to speak. The show has already been stolen by this little young lady called what, Taruna? वैसे तो it's not that only 8th of March is Women's Day. देखा जाए तो every day is Women's Day. लेकिन the manner which Taruna responded to Dr. Pandey, I thought Dr. Pandey would whisper it to my ear, which he did not. कि साहब यही सिलसिला चलता रहा तो हमें मेंस बनाना पड़ेगा. So the note of caution has been very well received by minuscule number of male gender over here. Nevertheless, on a serious note, of course, why do we actually observe these? These days are actually observed just to retreat ourselves to an ideal cause or a conviction that we need to respect women if we are not. तो अगर हम हर बार पानी का गिलास इन्हीं से मंगवा तो आज से ये अहद करके जाए संकल्प कि अब आगे से आपने पानी का गिलास इनको पेश करते हैं. These days are observed as occasions of dedicating oneself. So, I think this could also be a proposition. Every year, you dedicate them to one resolve. इस बार खैर पानी के गिलास ही छोड़ दो, अगली बार रसोई घर तक ले जाओ. But yes, as I said, on a serious note, it's just a reiteration. It does not mean that we have to observe Women's Day or express our reverence for women. And therefore, while it's my obligation to compliment all the women over here, I also need to compliment a half a dozen men over here for not only facilitating this program, but also enabling these women to a lesser or a larger extent. घर में गिलास का पानी ना दिया हो, लेकिन इस महकमे में, इस विभाग में डॉक्टर दत्ता इत्तेफाक से मर्द. So you cannot get away by saying that every contribution was done only by the female gender. So I think this is a day when we need to celebrate and compliment both the genders to facilitate a gender which sometimes thought or felt or perceived that it was not receiving its due. If it is not, then we have to do the course correction. And as you would have seen, at least in the last nearly 8 years, ever since Shri Narendra Modi took over as Prime Minister, every major flagship program of the government has not only been people-friendly or poor-friendly, it's been largely, to a great extent, women-friendly. So on the very Independence Day that he addressed, 2014, when we had just come in about 2 months earlier, he made an appeal for Swachhata. अब सुनने में बड़ा साधारण सा लगता है साहब क्या किया प्रधानमंत्री. कुछ लोग तो मजाक भी उड़ाते हो because Independence Day address is an address of declaration when you declare the policies of the government. The Prime Minister's address is then quoted for several years to come. But if as a scientific or as a clinician, I think it had got more to do with women hygiene and women pathology than anything else. Because in the hospitals we have seen score young girls who are not actually expected to develop urinary tract infection coming to us. There are certain age groups when the urinary tract infections in females are known to be of a higher prevalence. Maybe for them who are suffering from diabetes and the uncontrolled blood glucose levels. In fact, one of the earliest symptoms of undetected diabetes is a urinary infection in a woman or an itching, etc. Or sometimes during pregnancy, etc. You tend to have. But there's no business for a young adolescent girl to have these infections. And the rest is unheard of. So if we were getting over here to us, we were suffering from lack of women toilets or women toilet facility. And after that single declaration, in one single year, 4 lakh toilets were constructed in schools. Then in subsequent year, he makes a call for Ujjwala. अब जैसे तरुणा जी को ग्लास का पानी पड़ता है, लेकिन इनकी पिछली पीढ़ी की जो महिलाएं रही, उनको सारा दिन चूल्हे में फूंक मार के अपना फेफड़े और जीवन खराब करना पड़ता. Having come from the ground and part of the electoral business, we've seen this transformation happening from close quarters. So usually, and I was suggesting this to Secretary also, we should do less of talking and allow others to speak so that we go back wiser after that, what they say. In a very far-flung area, when I suggested, I said, let's have a group of Labharthis, let them talk. So there was a young, almost maybe the same age group as this lady, very articulate, as much as she appeared to be. And she said, I'll tell you the change. सुबह चूल्हे में she came far from village. लकड़ी लगा देते थे. गीली लकड़ी सूखने में आधा दिन गुजर जाता था. धुआं इतना उड़ता था, सारा दिन खांसना पड़ता और रात को सांस की ठाठ पड़ जाती. खाना फिर भी नहीं पड़ता. और जब से गैस आई है, आधे घंटे में खाना तैयार हो जाता है. And then I don't know what to do. And then I have hit upon an idea. मैंने एक छोटा सा ग्रुप बनाया. हमने घर में सुइंग मशीन शुरू कर दी. वो that what I think the women folk would know that better. आज वो जो कपड़े बनाते, not embroidery, नहीं वो टेलर वेलर का काम, बुटीक टाइप, not बुटीक, बुटीक नहीं, कपड़े की कपड़े का जो भी होता है, बनाना और सिलाना and all that. So what I'm trying to say is that these are transformational changes happening, and the government as a policy is इसलिए, and I think men are to an extent contributing to this. Not wholly, to some extent. But it's been a beautiful synergism when we carry out these schemes. Like, for example, Northeast, I think about 3 years back, we had set upon a target on the 15th of June, we would attain saturation point as far as this scheme was concerned. We could not do so in Northeast because 15th June was too close and was rainy season sets in over there. So we asked for an extra 1 month. And still we had a challenge. The challenge was your cylinder replace कैसे करना. वो तो दे दिया पहली बार, replace पहुंच जाएगा. There were just a couple of houses, the far-flung area, and then it would start raining and well favorable. So we had a joint secretary. Incidentally, she devised that idea. He went there, उसने सरपंचों को बुलाया, तो कहा था ये आपके जिम्मे 100 सिलेंडर. महीने के बाद मुझे इसका हिसाब देना कहाँ गए. ना मुझे आपने तंग करना तो तंग करो. The सरपंच is very happy कि उसकी भी लीडरी चले गई. Yes, गैस सिलेंडर के वो मालिक हैं, अपने वोटर को खुद दे रहे हैं. So it became a win-win. So I think women also have the tremendous capacity to innovate ideas. Innovation doesn't happen only in science. The biggest innovation is idea, because that's the biggest copyright. So I have to also congratulate the success stories. But it was my idea we should have 75 success stories because this Women's Day is being observed in the 75th year. Those of them, 30 of them could just write out so that others could see your face. Your pattis, these I will carry Nisha. So just rise up and show your face and give them a clap because they are the because this is an exclusive celebration happening through the realms of science and technology dedicated to the International Women's Day. बाकी तो आज गली मोहल्ले में दिन मनाया जा रहा है, but this is they are from that 75 group. I have also to compliment Nisha Kiran film and Miranda. आपकी टीम जो है बड़ी हो जाए. हाँ नहीं मतलब in collaboration with you said no, our world Miranda House and your team जो भी आए हैं साथ आपके for that film on 25 grand countries. So actually this day is meant to celebrate them so that we feel inspired. Not only the woman has to be inspired by a woman, men too can enjoy the luxury of being inspired by a woman. And therefore, when I say so, I don't say without meaning because all of us being from the scientific fraternity are taught very early in our careers not to speak without evidence. And the evidence of this is that this thought is now being universalized. इसीलिए इस साल का थीम क्या रखा? Gender equality for sustainable tomorrow. So gender equality जब तक नहीं होगा, तो we will not be able to achieve the goal of sustainable tomorrow. And that is applicable across the world, but becomes more relevant in the Indian context because we are an economy on the ascent, on the rise. And our rise and our ascent is happening through the streams of science, most notably through space technology. In space technology, we have taken over even Russia, USA, who reached there much, much earlier than us. Today, NASA is procuring our inputs, our pictures. So we are on the ascent. And if we have to actually sustain that, then all of us have to be equal partners from every section of society. So we cannot actually leave aside one section of society and then hope of being recognized on the world platform. And therefore, as was being narrated to you, she elaborated a number of these schemes जो इन्होंने चलाई हुई हैं, विज्ञान ज्योति में and Gati, gender advancement or transforming institutions, industrial research, fellowship programs, senior women scientist fellowships, Kiran जो आपने अभी देखा, overseas fellowship for women. So a host of these lists, which I think she already enumerated. I don't have to say this to you. And see, what we are not realizing is when we are talking of young scientists, whether men or women, today, of course, we'll talk only about women. I hope that's okay now. कहीं और दिन तो हो गए बोले feminist हो गए. आज तो औरत. But when we talk, it's important because we are a young nation. Young in the sense that below 40 is more than 70%. And if we have to plan for the next 25 years, why, contemplate planning in the 70-50 years. But what is equally important to realize, which is not often realized, is that at the same time, we have a huge old population. So I was actually telling the other day, the graph is actually biphasic, which is not often pointed out. On the one hand, if you see statistically, your 70% population is below 40. But if you see the actual numbers, your actual number of plus 60 is much, much more. It's 10 times higher than what it was at the time of independence, as a result of which I am dealing with GOPD and the other departments also. So the number of pensioners in the government far exceeds the number of serving employees. And the state exchequer which goes in is much more. So this is something which is not being realized. The data lady is there. I'm sure she will take note. Sometimes we could have a serious thought of. So then how best to use their time? And they are retiring at the prime of their age. So that is why we have decided in this department to enhance the age for best paper up to 60. Nisha, the second part of the Sonali, I think slightly more than what Shekhar Mate was saying. Where he said that we have decided, because the important she is dealing with, we have decided to enhance the age eligibility for best scientific paper up to 60. So this is a new information. Why? So that you could feel 16 at 60 and also have the same kind of enthusiasm at 60 as 60. So it could be both ways. You are 60 at 16 and you are also 16 at 60. Because we have that prime happening. So this might, I think the challenge now is, and also this could be an asset for us. We have a biphasic population configuration composite. So we will, on the one hand, and in fact, I suggested also the other things are not strictly to pertaining to 75 to women. I said we could also prepare an atlas of 75 at 75. We have active scientists who are either past 75 or around 75. And therefore, I think having said that, now what is it after the 75 women scientists, we also now are looking for 75 startups. We have already started in 75 startups in this year. Then we'll also start 75 startups. And then that the first generation startups. The first generation side. ऐसा नहीं है बाप नेता था तो नेता बन गए. अगर ऐसा होता तो India would have been the Indian subcontinent would be the most advanced country. We didn't have to observe Women's Day. We didn't have to hear all these complaints. You know why? These are all certain things we never talked about. Indian subcontinent, which includes India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, has had the highest number of women heads. यहाँ इंदिरा गांधी हुई, वहाँ बेटी भुट्टो हुई, वहाँ खालिदा जिया हुई, वहाँ शेख हसीना हुई, वहाँ श्री मावेर भंडारे नायका हुई. तो फिर आपको किस बात का था? वहां तो सिर्फ एक मार्गरेट थैचर हुई. America never had president. UK had one. Because this is the nuance which only a scientific mind will decipher. Because we are all, by aptitude scientists. चल फिरते भी सोवा भी सैर करते कोई ना कोई खुरापाती घूमती है. इसलिए because they were not strictly speaking first generation. They just inherited a legacy and somehow maybe they added value to that. I'm not denigrating anybody. Somebody was somebody's daughter, somebody's widow, somebody's. लेकिन यहाँ जो फर्स्ट जनरेशन अब आने शुरू हुए हैं, that is what is making the entire difference, which is something which has started happening after 1990. We have a host of first generation entrepreneurs, first generation startup. Secondly, startup का मतलब हमारे दिमाग में चलता है कि someone who is in employable age. Employable age भारत सरकार में लिखा है 35 साल, because we are a feudal society. For 1.5 century we were ruled by British. तो वो हमारे दिमाग में घुस गई बातें. तो 35 साल तक नौकरी वाली उम्र है. तो हमें लगता है startup can happen after 60. And we have had a number of them. Miraculous startups doing wonders. Some of them giving up, high positions. I recently came across senior army officer given up and just made it big in some other field. So we have to have 75 women young, 75 women at 60 and plus 60, 75 startups. And for that, as I said last time, searching, monitoring and sustaining. You have to search them. And the A mission also will start. We have started doing that at the school age also. Because some of them are very bright, but then they go haywire because they are put in all sorts of coaching centers and all, Mukherjee Nagar and this, that, and their actual aptitudes are lost. So we have started mentorship program. And we will also in that mentorship program include a special focus on women, young women, adolescent age who are school going, so that we catch them young before they get influenced by their parents. Because जो इनकी कहानी थी उसमें आधा दर्द मायके का था, आधा दर्द ससुर का था. पहले शादी हो गई, फिर बाद में क्लास. So we catch them young, then we can actually mentor them. Not keeping aside the social obligation of साथ-साथ. Somebody who understands what this little child is meant for. So for that we have started program, and recently for your convenience we are applying the single portal we have started working on. Single portal for fellowships, grants, and all the other support that you get from this thing. And very soon we are going to, because we did that experiment very successfully in the administrative reforms and governance, we'll have a series of regional level startup awareness programs, and in which we will keep dedicated sessions exclusively for women and for girls, because there's still much lack of awareness among the women. And this awareness is also not happening because the mindset is old, and sometimes even some of our best devotees which have become known or pioneer in some of our programs like aroma missions or drones. Even the city town in which these laboratories are located are not fit, and therefore the startups are not able to avail of this. So with that idea, the last 2 days we have been working on it. We'll start 2 days such conclaves in different parts of the country. We did that in administrative reforms, and we will also I would advise that now, for example, this story was going on about the 75 women scientists, the film that was produced. We can have small clippings and we could use that in social media, because otherwise this film is seen today and then lost. ये किसी थिएटर में रिलीज भी नहीं होगी क्योंकि इसमें कोई गीत गाना भी नहीं है, तो no takers outside this hall. So we have small clippings of these girls talking about themselves, and in the conferences, conclaves that we would have, I was even today discussing, we would have these startups narrating their own tale instead of we telling. We can make an expert comment so that they could actually motivate and also tell from their own experience. And I think 2047 is a year when we are going to celebrate India. So that is also the reason, if we have a good synergism of those who are going to have active 25 years to put, that age group of young women scientists, in combination with those who may not have active 25 years ahead, but who have active 50 up story. So we have ground floor and the topmost floor combined together so that we get the best synergistic outcome in 2047. And I think women 2047 will be actually 2047 only when we learn to celebrate women in a manner that they were not celebrated before. And those who are not just achievers by legacy, but who are self-made achievers, as I said, first generation achievers, and who have credence to say that they are equal partners in nation building. So that should be in the 75th Amrit Mahotsav year, from the point of view of the Department of Science.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, for singularly appealing to all of us with your day-to-day examples. हमारी हौसला अफजाई की और एक नई दिशा से अवगत कराया. Your valuable observations, I'm sure, will make women achieve greater heights in the field of science and technology. And with that, I now request Mrs. Indu Puri to present the word of thanks.
Thank you, Nidhi ji. आज हम अब इस कार्यक्रम के अंत के तरफ बढ़े हैं. So very warm greetings on International Women Day to all of you, and it is my privilege कि मैं धन्यवाद ज्ञापन दूं. सबसे पहले मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदय जी डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी को धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगी, under whose guidance and leadership all initiatives related to women scientists are being taken up, and science and technology is also being used for common women. Thank you, sir. And our special thanks goes to Dr. Shekhar C. Mande, Secretary DSIR, DGCSIR, for his address on this special occasion. I need to mention Dr. Neeta Verma, who is Director General of National Informatics Centers. She needs special mention. She is spearheading the digital transformation agenda of the government through development of digital platforms for various initiatives of the government in different sectors of development. Thank you so much, madam, for being the guest of honor. I thank our own secretary, Dr. Srivari Chandrasekhar ji, who is constant source of inspiration for us. My sincere thanks goes to Dr. Devpriya Datta sir, our head for C division, and Dr. Nisha Mehndi-Ratta, head Vice Kiran division, and their teams for spearheading SNP for Women program and Vice Kiran program. I thank CSIR team for providing with all the logistic teams and my colleagues Once again, my best wishes for International Women's Day. Thank you.
हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि हमारे देश की बेटियों का आने वाला कल रोशन हो, महफूज हो, बराबरी का हो. And on this pragmatic day note, I'd like to wish you a very happy Women's Day once again, and thank you all for joining us. We request you to join us for a picture opportunity, but before that, please rise for the National Anthem. Scientists to please come, the 75 scientists and esteemed dignitaries. 30 and thinker.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, morning. Hello, good morning to all of you, sir. Yeah, good morning. Anand Kumar ji, shuru kare kya? Yeah, sir.